Welcome back to Platonically Yours, a podcast exploring platonic love. Today, again, we are recording on the lands of the Ngunnawal and Ngambi peoples, and we want to pay our respects to their elders past and present and recognise that sovereignty was never ceded.
Yes, hello, welcome back. I'm Rowena and I'm here with Sami.
Hello.
And we have Lucy Sugerman on with us today.
Special
Welcome,
guest.
Lucy.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for coming.
We're so excited to have you on. Before we, dive into our conversation, we'd love for you to tell us a little bit about yourself. We know that you've been super busy this year, so we'd love to hear a little bit about that. And also if you have anything else coming up in the future.
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, first and foremost, I'm a musician and songwriter. That's probably what I'm primarily known for.
Mm-hmm.
I love music. I love singing. I write a lot of music for my own artist projects and other people's projects and do a lot of sort of like sample making, sync writing, that type of thing. Just making a lot of music. Don't know why I went British. Just playing shows. I've been very much in like songwriting mode at the moment and getting ready to start releasing music again from July onwards. I've got a lot of songs to roll out, which is exciting.
That's so exciting.
So that's me. And then I study part-time. I'm like halfway through a law degree, which sounds very like, wow, but it's like, it's not done and it's taking a long time.
Yeah,
my grades are okay.
Don't give me the credit yet. I don't deserve it.
So a little bit of that. And then, just like working in the music industry. So I just finished up a role at Music ACT, which is the the territory's peak body for contemporary music. So we did a lot of work around nightlife and artists and sort of advocacy at like a local and national government, federal government level. And then I do a little bit of radio stuff. I don't know, I just like do a lot of random music things because I love it and it's fun. And then in terms of what I've been doing, songwriting. We were talking about this before, but I recently went to the States to play my first ever shows there at South by Southwest, which was fun.
Amazing.
And did a lot of writing. And just like, kicking about, doing lots of random things, trying to keep busy and keep it all going. But yeah, that's me.
Amazing.
How long have you been doing music? Like when did it begin?
Oh, man. Well, I think apparently, again, I was not like conscious of my being, but I always loved singing, according to my mum.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was like 2 or 3, I saw a lady on The Wiggles playing the violin. And I was like, that is really cool and I want to do that.
Yep.
And then my parents said, you can't because you're a toddler and toddlers can't learn violin. And they said when I turned 4, I could have a violin and do violin lessons. They Googled it and like talked to some friends, and that was kind of the earliest you could really attempt to start the violin.
Wow.
And they thought I would forget, but I didn't.
So was violin your first instrument?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Such a bit of a random one. And then, it would just be, seeing people on TV doing music things. And I thought, wow, that is so cool. And I vividly remember being 8 years old and my friend showed me Love Story by Taylor Swift on So Fresh Hits of Summer 2009 or something.
Loved those CDs.
Right? The best.
Yep.
And she showed me Love Story and it blew my mind because it was a young girl who'd written this song herself about something that I could kind of comprehend as an 8 or 9-year-old. Because I think like in 2008, 2009, most of the songs are about the club, which sounded really fun to me.
That's so
But
true,
I didn't
they
really
were.
understand what that was.
Yeah.
And Love Story changed my brain chemistry a bit.
Or even like hypersexual songs.
Yeah.
I remember listening to like really sexual songs as like a 10-year-old.
Seriously, it had not a clue. They just
No.
sounded good to me.
Yeah.
Oh, man. But so that's how that started. And then I saw videos of Justin Bieber busking in like 2010. And I was like, that's cool. I could go busking. So then I decided I was going to go busking.
In Canberra?
Yeah.
Wow.
I used to go busking out the front of, what is it now? It was Kokomo's. It's something else now.
Okay.
Out the front of
Right.
there. It was
Oh,
Tongue
yeah,
and
yeah,
Groove
yeah.
at the time. And I would go during school holidays at the public service lunch hour.
That's just smart business.
And rake it in?
Yeah.
like,
Well, because it'd be like, cute kid, can somewhat hold a tune.
Yeah.
And I've got
She
change.
knew. She
I've got
knew.
change from my lunch that I just went to the food
Yeah.
court to get.
Also, this is what, like 10 years ago? Like
Yeah.
maybe people had more
They had
cash on them.
cash.
Yeah.
So that's how that started. And it never really stopped. So, it's quite a blessing to, I think, find your life passion at an early age. And I don't take
Yeah.
that for granted, for sure.
Absolutely. And how has it kind of evolved over time from like your early days getting into music to what it is now?
I think back then I was very obsessed with fame and celebrity because you're 9 or 10 and that's what you're seeing. And you think that's sort of like you get there, you're going to make heaps of money and everyone's going to love you and it's going to be awesome.
I
and
think
that's
at that
the
age,
perception.
And you're not
Right?
seeing like the negative side of
No,
fame
not
either
at all.
at that age.
Not at all. And I always say like everything I do now I try to do for my like delusional, obnoxious 10-year-old self who just loved music so much and low-key thought she was the best. And I just try to like go back to that place because, you know, I think naturally as creatives we always have so much self-doubt. And I like to think I've hopefully become more tolerable and humble as my frontal lobe has developed. But yeah, I always I think it's funny looking back on that now because now I can kind of see the breadth of what you can do in music. Like obviously it's a really difficult industry and for a lot of people it's difficult to make money and sustain it and have that longevity. But I realize like at the core of it now, I still love music. Even though there's been so many setbacks, so many rejections. And it's like a really tough industry that also stands for a lot of really negative, awful things. And fame and celebrity, in my view, is not, you know, I don't think it's actually particularly constructive for our society, but that's a whole other discussion.
I'd love to get into it sometime.
Oh my gosh, please.
I also have so
love
many
talking
thoughts.
about that. Yes. Oh my gosh, we have to talk about that.
Yes.
But I think at its core now, it's like I love it. I, you know, have such a deep passion for it. It's a way to connect with people. And I think more and more I learn about the value and place it has in so many people's lives. Like it's such a universal language, as cheesy as it is. So now it's just about like, okay, how long can I keep this going without going into poverty and reducing my family to ruins? No, but seriously. And it's like
Where's
just
the
finding
line?
ways to, because also like you're kind of, you know, you're bearing your soul. You're drawing a lot from your own emotions. And yeah, it's a very like personal thing, but it's also your job. So just learning to manage that too. That's what it's about now. It's like, how can I keep doing this? Because it's so much fun and, you know, things keep happening. So I'm just going to
Like how do I make it sustainable?
Yeah, pretty much. And I have no interest in being a famous person. Firstly, don't think it's that attainable for someone like me. But like 2, doesn't sound that fun.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, you know, it's been an interesting journey, but music's still fun. So
I guess
that's a win.
Yeah, I guess on that topic though, like what do you, because you obviously create so much behind closed doors, what do you decide to keep like for yourself and what do you like let go of and what do you share with others? Like how do you make that decision?
That's such a great question because I feel like that has changed also over time as I've come to understand, okay, why am I doing music? What do I actually think about this stuff? And also, again, growing up and just becoming, you know, hopefully more self-aware and aware of your own actions. You know, I think for me now, I am very aware that the words and language you say do hold weight and power and can impact people. And I think that's something I'm wrestling with of like, okay, because I write about personal situations or even other people's personal situations. It's like, what is respectful to share? Because at the end of the day, I've written this song called Lethal Pen, which is pretty much like...
it sounds lethal.
It's pretty much about being a songwriter and the fact that like you kind of get creative license to say whatever you want in a song and it's fine because it's in a song. And which I think there's creative license and obviously like we collectively at this table we have a lot of songs that are very brutal that we love and that's got value in itself. But I think in terms of deciding what songs go out and what don't, I think now I'm just trying to like put songs out that are a little bit more uplifting. I still have some like depressing, brutal ones, but I think my thing is like, okay, how would I feel if I was on the other side of this?
Yeah.
So music and songwriting is such like, it's like therapy diary situation for me. So I write about everything, but I don't think it's necessarily fair to share everything. Or even if it's like waiting a few years till the situation's passed, like I'm not going to put out a fresh song.
So that you can actually revisit it and then decide if it's like a good song or if it's just something that was fueled by your emotions.
Like, I'm going to make a TikTok and it's about this boy that I hate, blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh my gosh, girl, like, it's okay.
Yeah, give it
a few years.
Yeah. So I think there's that. And then obviously like, I don't know, if I was like a random person on the other side of the world, would this song make sense in kind of like the story of coming to like getting to know this artist? So like all my songs previously have mostly been like kind of breakup, angsty, teen angsty stuff. And currently I'm writing a lot of songs about like my faith and also like state of the world, maybe some other things. And it's about like, okay, I'm going to put out some more of those breakup songs and sort of like transition into that and make sure there's like a cohesive story there.
Can, like,
I
follow
hope
the
that made
journey.
sense. I was probably a bit of a yap, but
that's interesting
yeah.
though. So it sounds like it has a bit more to do with how it's being received. Like not so much what am I willing to share just of myself, like how vulnerable am I willing to be, but like what impact will it have on the people listening is almost more at the forefront of your decision making.
It definitely is now, for sure. I think like I've been doing this for so long, definitely not a like successful or large scale level, but I'm very comfortable with getting on stage and be like, and this happened to me and then this happened and here's this song that I wrote about it and blah, blah, blah. Like that is just, I don't even think twice about that, to be honest, in terms of my own comfort. But again, like when you're a mouthy teenager, you're like, stuff that guy. I'm going to write this really ambitious song about them. And again, honestly, I totally get it. This is more like a personal preference of what I'm trying to do now. And there's still like a lot of, is this okay? Is this okay? Like a lot of tension there. Like I definitely don't get it right at all. But
I think that's really, I think it's beautiful because I think it's saying something about your relationship to music as well. Like you don't have to put out things, like you don't have to put out everything you write. Like you can write it just for you.
Yeah.
And I think there's something really beautiful in that. And then when you're making those conscious decisions about what you do release, I think that's also really lovely because that's when you start to consider your listeners and like the wider community and how their relationship to your work. So it's kind of two-pronged, and that's definitely something that we, in like wanting to talk to you today, we were like, well, there's obviously this like very obvious relationship that like a musician would have with the craft of like music itself. But then outside of that, you then have this completely other relationship that you're managing, which is like with listeners, yes, but also with the wider community and then within your own creative circle, which I think is like crazy because if you actually think about it, like that's a lot to manage and to, like you said, like want to continue to create and want to continue to do what you love.
Yeah.
So what are like some rituals or even like environments that you enjoy putting yourself in to stay grounded?
I would say most of the people that are super, super close to me in my life, not all of them, aren't musicians. And it's really good. Like my family, especially. No, honestly, no. It's not a problem if you're a musician. I love musicians. Obviously, we have like that thing in common. But I think, you know, it's helpful just going to my family home and they just don't care about, oh, I got this Spotify editorial playlist. Okay. Oh, Triple J this. Okay. Like it's nice to get you out of that ecosystem and way of thinking where, like you said, you're managing so many relationships and you care about it so deeply, like you become so obsessed. So that's probably the key thing I do.
Is staying in Canberra part of that, like continuing to be based here?
I think it has been, yeah, especially because my family are here. Like my family's probably the biggest draw card. And honestly, it's like a really nice place to be based and come back to. I'm away a lot, I will say. Like most of my 95% of my music work is outside of Canberra. But yeah, I think it's definitely that grounding of just being like, Lucy, you gotta chill. Like, and just a reminder that most people just, you know, music is like, oh, I remember this song because it reminds me of this person in high school or whatever. And I listen to music on the bus going to work and, oh, I put on the radio. It's like, you know, that people have varying degrees of relationships with music and how it, you know, plays into their life. And it's such a blessing to get to contribute to that in the way of being an artist. And like, yeah, managing all those relationships is weird and like the tension of being a creative, blah, blah, blah. But it's also such a gift, you know, that it can mean so many different things to different people, including for myself. So yeah, that's probably the key thing is like staying around close family and friends who, you know, see the parts of me like outside of music as well and making sure like I am a musician, but a musician is not my identity and not 100% of me. Like that's a very important thing that I struggle with still because I've been doing this literally cannot remember a time where I wasn't like obsessed with music. It is seriously everything to me, and just learning to do things outside of it while still nurturing this passion and enjoying it for what it is, I think is, now that we're having this conversation though, I'm like, I need to, I think having more rituals and like routines and habits to foster that
to come
would
back
be
to.
helpful.
But I think it's also good because what you're explaining is like, what sustains you. Like there's a reason that you come back to Canberra. There's a reason that you continue to put yourself into those environments, like with your family and your close friends. Like, and I think that in itself, like having that information and knowing that about yourself is like a really powerful thing, because it'll just mean that you can continue to sustain like what you're doing and what you love.
Yeah.
So I think that's amazing. I guess that kind of leads us into some questions more about like those relationships outside of like yourself and music. Something that I was wondering personally was like, are you aware of the relationship that listeners may be having to your music? Like, do you get a lot of feedback from like listeners themselves, or do you get approached by people? And does that come into how you make sometimes as well, like how you create the work?
Yeah, it definitely does, in the sense that I have so much music that I love that I will message people about, and have songs that I come back to all the time, and like, songs like we might sing in church that mean so much to me. And it is those moments, it's not all the time, but there definitely have been a lot of really beautiful, memorable emails, or like getting to chat to people after shows, or like whatever, DMs on Instagram and things that remind me like, oh man, I have the privilege of getting to do this music thing maybe for other people the way that it has for me. So yeah, it definitely plays into it. I think it's very easy to get obsessed with these songs that you just make in your room, and they're like your little babies for so long, for years sometimes.
Yeah.
Like my most recent single, Crumb, I had for like 3 years before it
Wow.
came out. And then suddenly they're out in the world and they get this whole new life, right? And so it I think it's just like a nice reminder that this music thing is bigger than just me and my own feelings, and there's a lot of, not like necessarily power so much, but the potential for like, impact and getting to do
and connection.
good with and connecting with people.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So
you don't feel kind of intimidated by that intimacy that you're kind of creating through sharing so personally with the public?
I think sometimes, ebbs and flows for sure. But I think it's part of the job. And if you don't like it or you're uncomfortable with it, I can stop. Sometimes it feels like, oh, I'm so deep in this now, like I have to keep going. Like everyone knows me, singer girl. I could stop.
Yeah, but it feels
if there's
good.
any negatives. But yeah, I think the getting to play music feels really awesome. And, I've managed to keep doing it this long. I've managed to have an income from it. So I
Congrats.
will keep going. Do my best. A little bit of money. Not heaps, but a bit.
Something.
Yeah.
You mentioned it just then briefly, but like performing is also, I think, a big part of your practice. Like you love to perform live and to do live performances. We saw recently you did like a backyard performance, which is so cool. Do you think that being in Canberra and being like enmeshed in like the music scene here has contributed to the way you are as an artist?
Absolutely. Absolutely. One thing I always say to people when they ask me this is that Canberra is the most amazing place to try something new and start something out. Because I feel like, because it's a big enough city that there's still some things going on, but it's small enough of a community that everyone kind of knows everyone and they want to nurture good things coming out of Canberra. And I feel like I've always been very supported by the community, from like, the stint on TV when I was a little teenager to like any little thing I do now. And yeah, it's been an amazing, and I would say also forgiving place to like cut your teeth and just like get better at performing and playing and meeting people and learning how to conduct yourself in professional scenarios, and
without like too much on the line.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, sometimes there definitely is like, but I think it's just a really nurturing place to, try something new and start out. Obviously, it has its pros and cons, and Canberra, has its certain qualities and strengths. But I think there's that, and I think also because you've grown up in such a tight knit scene, you become very conscious of how I think lucky one might be to get to that kind of be like your home scene where you know everyone and you go to a gig and you run into your friends. And I think everyone gets very excited when a peer does something really cool. It's, I think, crazy for a lot of us to be like, okay, I remember playing Goog Fest 2017 with Teen Jesus and the Gene Teasers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was Young Monks and Slow Turismo, and now like the Genies are opening for Pearl Jam in
Oh my
America.
God.
Like,
yeah,
that is just like a very cool thing, and the Canberra pride is very real.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think growing up around that vibe,
It's like
amazing.
really encouraging.
Yeah.
So did you make a conscious effort pretty early on to be someone that performs a lot? Because I imagine as a musician you can decide to be more kind of private in just releasing songs that go onto the internet and kind of flourish there rather than leaning as much into performing. But do you really want to be someone that's performing a lot?
Yeah, I think performing was the first thing I did before I released music. I actually started properly releasing music onto streaming services in 2020.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
So I made a lot of records and CDs and like put them on Bandcamp or SoundCloud. But in terms of like a proper release, it started in 2020, which is not that long ago.
No.
So live performance has always been the thing that I was most comfortable with and used to. So I just remember from age 10, all I wanted to do was play gigs. I'd say yes to everything. I'd go basking. I'd do all these things. Obviously, as you grow up and progress, you become a little bit more picky when you can.
Yeah.
But I think, my advice to people that do want to pursue the artist route or the band route is like, play as many gigs as you can. It's like keeping those muscles warm and learning and learning and learning before, and then it will become like muscle memory in a lot of ways. I've always tried to seek out live show stuff. Maybe a bit less now, but I'm going to get back into it because I really miss it. It's like one of the most amazing parts of being an artist. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also it kind of speaks to this theme that we have throughout this whole second episode, which is a real focus on community and community building.
Second season. But
Second
yes.
season. Thank you. And I feel like, kind of facilitating live gigs and bringing people together is a big part of that. Does that feel good to be kind of like bringing people together and creating community through performance as well?
Of course. Like it is, again, like I feel like, broken record, but it is such a privilege to be able to do that. I think, we're very connected through the internet and things like that, but I think we can all agree like a lot of society feels very disconnected and everyone's like burnt out and working a lot and everything's a lot. And we're seeing the disappearance of like third spaces, like the spaces between work and home.
Yeah.
And
I'm
I think
so
live,
passionate about third spaces.
yes, same. And I think something like live music and going to shows is one of the last sort of common third space thing to still exist and to still have an appeal to people. So to get to contribute to that in any way, I'm a big fan of because, it's like live music and those spaces and that connection that makes life good. That makes, having a house and going to work worth it, right?
Yeah.
So, I would say yes. Yeah.
No, I think that's really beautiful. And I was going to, I'm really interested, this is a little bit off track, but what's it like to also participate, I guess, in these third spaces? Like, obviously you perform, but what's your relationship to actually like going to gigs and like seeing musicians perform? Like, it's really interesting. Like, I'd be really interested to get that perspective from you as someone that actually does it. Like, what is that like to like be in the audience and like potentially meeting other people and like surrounding yourself with like this music community? Like, what does that feel like?
Goodness, like when I go to a really good gig, it just rejuvenates me. My friends used to joke, they're like, we imagine you as like a battery that runs off going to gigs. And I was like, that's so real. I have become a bit of a hermit though recently. I think it's because I have been working a lot on music and also like going out has suddenly become very tiring to me and I've been trying to figure out why. But yeah, I love going to shows. And when you go to a really good one, it reminds you, oh yeah, this is why we do things. Like I've come out of my hermit room and I'm like, oh, like there's people and there's connection and this is why we do it. So I think like being a punter and going is very, very important. And I need to do it more and put my money where my mouth is because I'm very like, support live music, support live music. And I honestly, to be transparent, have been feeling very tired and not as connected to my scene here at home. I think I've also been away a lot. But yeah, I think
does it change like the feeling? Does it change depending on like where you're going to these events? Like do you feel differently? Like does it feel more like I don't know what I'm saying. Like is it like a completely different experience
to playing the show?
Yeah, like but also like outside of Canberra versus like another Australian city or like even overseas. Like I know that I have been very lucky to like go to music events overseas. And I do feel a little different, like especially when you're going to a country that might not speak English or something like that. And then you like rock up and you have all these people around you that are speaking all these different languages. And it's like it's like the coolest thing ever. But like at the same time, you're like, okay, how am I feeling? Like how does this compare? Like how do you feel like in those spaces?
I think ebbs and flows. Most of the time I love it. Most of the time I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
I think again, that connection is everything. And also just like witnessing someone really good at the thing that I love is so inspiring. It's always so inspiring. I find a lot of the time like I'll go to a really good gig and I'm like, I have to go home and write a song right now.
That's amazing.
And that's, a really special feeling. I think it's not so much the gig that might tire me out or the music itself. I think sometimes, there's the social aspect, which is totally my own thing, but I think I am I can come across extroverted, but I think I'm naturally introverted. Like it does feel like a bit of an energy expenditure sometimes.
Yeah.
So there's that aspect. So, and then also like alcohol and drinking and the partying aspect sometimes, when I'm in the mood, I'm like, yeah, I'm there. But sometimes that can feel really tiring. So it really there's a lot of circumstances that kind of play into that outside of the performance and the space itself, I would say. But yeah, most time, love it so much. I think it's the best thing ever. I think it needs to be protected. And it's been nice that there's, I think obviously the music industry, and along with every other industry ever, it feels, has been, struggling a lot. Small business is really tough. So I'm trying to remember what I said. I just lost my train of thought. Sorry. I had something good.
That's okay.
Yeah, I think we're just going to pause that sentence because I've totally forgotten what I was going to say. But I was just going to say that needs to be protected.
Like really protected.
And it's been nice that there's been more conversations around it.
I'm also thinking about coming back to this recent backyard gig that you did and how kind of on the topic of, gigs sometimes feeling like a party and the alcohol that's involved and everything. Do you feel like doing things like backyard gigs makes it more accessible to kind of not just be that like really
intense,
like super social or draining experience of you're drinking and you're out super late? Like the backyard stuff feels like, I don't know,
different vibe.
Yeah,
it kind of feels a bit more Woodstocky.
Yeah, that's the kind of vibe I was going for. Like we had picnic blankets and cushions and stuff. And I think that's not to say that there isn't a time and place for the partying thing. Like I think it's so much fun as well, like not to discredit that. And I know, it's, it's awesome. But I think, that's definitely kind of was the aim of that backyard concert. And we could kind of, take it a bit more easy on like when the set started. It could just be like rocking up to someone's home and we're sitting around playing a song. So that was kind of about like providing different experiences for different people. And so there's something out there live music wise for everyone, whether it's like you're going to like Llewellyn Hall, you're going to see some classical music. That's probably going to be chill. Or you're going to Smith's to watch, an acoustic set. Or you're going to go to the basement or the basso, and, watch some heavy metal or go to 122 and enjoy a DJ set. Like it's just about making sure that there's kind of offerings for everyone. Yeah. And I think the backyard concert I could make all ages as well. So that's also cool. So we had some like, younger people that like my music come along and that was really nice too.
Speaking of, I guess, just hearing you be like, oh, this place does this and this place does that. And that obviously comes from your time in the Canberra scene and like having a really good understanding of it. But you also mentioned at the start that you worked for, what was it, like Music ACT?
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about what they do. And also I'd love to know, when you were like doing that work, did that at all change your relationship to your music? Because I feel like that would be like a really interesting, like, because you're not just working in music for yourself. You're like,
It's a bit bigger picture.
yeah, it's a bit bigger picture, and you like someone else is paying you to do something in music. Like,
Yeah.
what was that? What was that whole thing like?
Yeah. So firstly, I'll start with Music ACT is the ACT's peak body for music. So it's kind of like the advocacy body for musicians, venues, industry workers. And so their primary purpose was to run a professional development program, a free one. We'd run a lot of workshops and panels and things around aspects of the music industry. People would come and learn. If, someone had a question about the music scene in the ACT or wanted to be connected with someone to help them with whatever problem or question they might have, like, they could come to us. So that was kind of that. And every state and territory in Australia has one, and it's kind of about advocating for and promoting and protecting like the more grassroots sort of music ecosystem.
Has it been
at
around for a
local
while?
level. Yeah, Music ACT's been around, over 10 years. I think it became more of a formal organisation in like 2018, 2019. I think they got their first sort of paid roles. Like, it's non-profit. But yeah, AMIN, which is the Australian Music Industry Network, is sort of the network of all the states and territories, and that's been around for a pretty long time.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was cool. And then to your question about, working in music as an artist, I learned so much, and it definitely did inform like my practice as an artist, and it also helped me understand I guess a lot of the other agents that sort of impact the music industry. Prior to that, I used to work at UC Live, who do like UC Refectory and UC Harper, like the venues and stuff. And I now stand on this. Every artist should go work at a venue and see what happens before they rock up for sound check and after they leave. I think it
So much that goes into it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it then you can kind of understand why things might go a certain way or the pressures that a venue's under.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it just helps you be, am I allowed to swear?
Yeah.
Less of a dickhead. It definitely, I like to think I wasn't a dickhead before, but it helps you be more self-aware. So I think that's probably the key thing that I personally took away from Music ACT was understanding what can the government actually do. It's very easy for people to be like, oh, the government's going to come and save me and they need to do all these things. Okay, this is their actual jurisdiction, things that they can feasibly do. This is what is being done. This is what isn't being done. And learning about how music and government can intersect and how they can work together to address, different issues or things going on. So that was cool. And I think it just meant that I got to meet people from across all sort of parts of the industry at different levels as well, and, further understand their stories, and then also getting to bring, I guess, my lived perspective as a musician and creator that's grown up in Canberra as a young person too, I think was, a cool thing to get to do. So, it was, I think non-profit work can sometimes, be a hard slog, but it was rewarding to have those little wins and to learn more about, I guess, the impact of music on a city.
Yeah.
And its place and importance and its value, and learning ways to articulate that. Because I know as an artist, as a young person that goes out and loves a gig and loves all these things, but learning to articulate that to government, to the general public, it was really cool learning. So, yeah.
No, it sounds incredibly valuable, and you've articulated it very well to us as well.
Thank
Can
you.
I
I'm
just
glad.
say, I'm very impressed by how you just explained that to us. No, that's really good to know. And I think I also would say that recently, I've also been experiencing that a little bit with government funding and the relationship to the artist. And it is really interesting because I feel like I've also worked for government, and to kind of have that, I guess it's a little bit of empathy for
the whole process.
For the whole process. There is someone that is assessing all of the grants, someone is actually behind the desk and they're reading multiple a day, and they're not trying to do anything to upset you.
No.
It's just literally they only know what they know, and they can only make that decision, and And so I think sometimes as the artist, because you're putting so much into your work, it's like so emotional and it's like so heightened. And so when you like find out you don't get a grant or whatever, you're like, oh my God, like that's so like upsetting. But then
They hate me.
Yeah, they hate me. Like
It's so personal.
like can I do anything right? Like all of this like negativity. But then if you actually like get to experience like actually working with government or, you know, for not-profits that work with government, like all those things, like I think it's just so valuable because you just get a whole different
to understand the inside of it.
yeah, like just you have so much more appreciation for the whole system.
Absolutely. And I think there's also still room to be critical of it.
But
for
like
sure.
fair criticisms once you know.
Absolutely. More educated criticism and also like learning ways, okay, how can I also help make this better? I think it's one thing to be like, government, this, that, the other. I have a lot to say about it. Don't get me wrong, and I probably shouldn't say it here, but it's like also learning to be like, okay, what are the actual feasible solutions?
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
And just the character development is very important.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of being humbled and a lot of character development, I think, as well, which was good.
No, I think that's great.
So before we wrap up, there's one question that we ask all of our guests, and that is, what does platonic love mean to you?
I love that question. Such a good question. Whoa.
It's a big question.
It is a big question. I would say, and it's funny, last night, I didn't even mean to do this before this recording, but I was doing my Bible reading last night, and I came across this verse that I've read a million times, but I was like, oh, it's funny that I read it, you know, at that time. It's John 15:13. That's greater love has none than this, to lay one's life down. Oh no, I need to look it up. It was good though. Oh yeah, greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. And that's something Jesus said. And you know, so I would say platonic love is to think of others before yourself. Yeah, that's my answer.
That's a beautiful answer.
That's a beautiful answer.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have to say, like, I love that you guys are doing this because it's been, you know, it's funny, very well timed as well. Like I've been reflecting a lot on, you know, the place platonic love has in my life as someone that used to be so caught up on romantic love to the point where it was like probably irritating for everyone around me. And so yeah, it's cool to get to talk about this stuff. But that's my answer.
No, I think that's a beautiful answer.
Love it.
And I guess also like just a big shout out to you. Like, thank you so much for coming on. But also just for like being a listener. Like when I saw you pop up, you started following us maybe like after a few episodes had been released last season. I saw you pop up and I was like, oh my God.
Well, I think it's a great
Lucy's following
concept.
us.
It's very cool.
No, but it's just nice. You know, it's nice when people support each other. And so thank you so much for doing that and just for also coming in and like coming on and telling us about your relationship to your craft, which is so much of who you are. So
thank you. And thanks for having me. I've really enjoyed it. So.
Tell us, where can people find you?
Where can people find me? Instagram's probably the best one, and Spotify and Apple Music and all the streaming services, of course. Got a website, got Facebook, don't really use it, but it's just Lucy Sugerman, all the places.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And you can find us on Instagram, TikTok and YouTube at Platonically Yours Podcast, and wherever you get your podcasts at Platonically Yours. And that wraps up today's episode. So thanks so much for listening. And thanks so much, Lucy.
Thank you guys.
Yay.
Thank
All right,
you.
we'll be back in your ears next time.
Bye.